Hi, everybody. This is Doc Martin, and this is Maximum Medicine Radio. So we're going to do something a little bit different tonight, in part because my original plans fell through. Well, that's kind of a sign of these times, isn't it? Nothing goes exactly the way you plan. But I've hopefully turned it into a good opportunity. What I want to do, oh my video's acting up. What I want to do this evening is, especially now with Corona challenging us on the health front, if we haven't actually caught the virus, the stress of the whole environment, of the whole culture, politics, the world, the things that we are constantly battling in terms of just the fears and everything have really challenged our immune system. And what I'd like to do is use, that's probably a need for us to have the potential for self-healing if we need it. And self-healing can even be on a little, your belly's feeling a little off. You are not sleeping very well. Things that may not challenge you in terms of life or death, but have really impacted how the quality and the vitality of your life are. So what I want to do tonight is take you through what I see as basic processes to, honest to Pete, this video, I swear to, holy moly, sorry guys, take us through certain processes that you can learn. Now, will you be a master at this right away? Probably not, but that's okay. It does take practice, but if you can see the places that you can dig in and that you can start to gather these ideas, and we're going to talk about perspective, we're going to talk about intuition, we're going to talk about intention, and things that you can then apply these and figure out a way to bring in life force to change your health for the better. And I mean emotional, spiritual, and physical health. So that's what tonight's going to be. I'm going to take this opportunity when my plans got a little tumbled. I'm going to turn them, that old make lemonade. I'm going to turn it into something that I think is valuable. And you can come back to it and listen, because there may be parts you want to write down. There may be things you want to think about and deepen into. Will you be an expert right away? Maybe not. Is this all you need to know? Probably there are nuances that you'd like to know more about. But this, I think, are the basics. The other thing is, when you reach a place where you want to dig in and do this yourself, if you hit stumbling blocks, there are phenomenal energy healers out there. I've brought many of them on my show because, well, I love hearing what they have to say. I love how they are involved in the world, connected to the energy field, and working to shift individuals and collectively shift our species. So if you want any advice on who to see, you can contact me through my website, drsharonmartin.com, drsharonmartin.com, and I'll be happy to send you a list. Or go back and look at the numbers of guests I've had on my show. Allison Normore, Cece Treadway, Stevie Bell, Wake Wheeler, Dr. Patrice Fields, Dr. Carl Greer. If I've left anybody out, Lizzie Rose, I apologize. I'm not disrespecting you by leaving your names off. There are powerhouses of healers out there. They can help you, as can I. But tonight, I want to tell you the things that you can do for yourself, because that's what really I think it's all about. I don't want you to have to go to a doctor's office. Truthfully, it's not very fun going to a medical facility, being in that whole industrialized process. So these are things you can do to tap in and get some clarity for your own health and your well-being. So the first thing I want to say is if you have any questions during this, please, this is running on Facebook Live. You can type a comment and the producer will get that to me and I'll address it. You can call in. Let me find the studio phone number, 800-930-2819. And if you have a question as we're going along, if you want to share something about trying to heal yourself, please text on, comment on Facebook Live, call the studio, etc. All right, so the first step, and I think this is probably the hardest one to do. And what I see so much in my patients, I see this all the time, it's very distressing, is the belief that because you have something wrong, because you have a diagnosis, because you are limited, there becomes this belief box, this limiting box that people put themselves in. The box of the diagnosis, the box of this is who I am and what I am. And that medical, physical, emotional, spiritual limitation becomes the defining characteristic. And basically that definition, when you have defined yourself by this limitation, you have in effect compressed, condensed, constricted your life and your life force. You have not expanded. You have not become free in a sense, if that makes sense to you. Seeing yourself bigger than this box is critical. And that's the perspective that Alberto Villoldo, for example, teaches so beautifully. If you can shift your perspective, the four major approaches in perspective are looking at something literally, maybe emotionally, maybe how is your soul handling the journey and see yourself as the mythic journey, and then the energetics. But even if you can't do that, shifting your perspective to actually believe that it can be different. If you can't even generate a possibility of a belief that it can be different, I don't think it's going to change. So even if you have a glimmer of a hope that it's different, because the more you believe, this is who I am, this is what I am, I'm no more than this, I am limited by this. This is a box you're stuck in. You have to open the window, so to speak, and look to the outside, see it bigger. One of the people that I've found is a master at helping you shift that perspective is Dr. Carl Greer. And he's written 2 books, Change Your Story, Change Your Health is one of them. And that change, he's a psychologist, a psychotherapist. That change is what he teaches you to do, shift your story. And I say, get out of the box, open the windows. If you can just visualize that you're in a box, all blocked in, 4 walls, ceiling, roof, open the windows, see the outside and feel yourself, allow yourself to exist, even for a glimmer of a moment, exist outside that definition. This is so discouraging to me when I have patients who come and they're struggling. But for some reason, that story in their mind, that belief of their health, I am an arthritic, I am fibromyalgia, I am Crohn's disease. Well, that may be something that's happening to your physical form, but that's not you. That's not all you are. And I believe we are, sounds like, what is that? What is the First Lady's be best, be maximum. I believe we can step outside of that box, but you have to at least see yourself in the possibility. So new perspective, is the first step. So the second and future steps we're going to handle when we come back. We're going to take a short break right now, and then we'll take it to the next thing that I think is critical in learning how to heal yourself. So we'll be back in just a minute. Hi, everybody. We're back. I'm Doc Martin, Maximum Medicine Radio. And we're talking about what you yourself can do when your health, mental, emotional, spiritual, gets out of whack, the things that you can do for self-healing. And I'm trying to break down for the basics. Now, those are going to need practice, as I've said, and they may need help. So you may need to ask an energy or shamanic healer to help you. But in the meantime, you can do these basics. And I think the more that you dive into these parts that I'm describing tonight, I think you will begin to see the power and what's available to you. So we talked at first about shifting your perspective. You can't see something bigger, or you can't achieve something bigger if you can't see it, if you can't vision it. So we talked about that, how critical that step is. And the next step that I think is critical, and perhaps I'll say this in two ways. You may not have to know about the energy body. You may not have to know the ins and outs of that, but to realize that you have an energy field is the very least and the very basic that you should figure out and sense and start to tap into. And then truthfully, when you experience it, you won't be able to negate it. And here, I'm a physician. I have a PhD in physiology. I'm very academically science, left brain trained. But when I experienced the energetics, when I experienced that unseen world, when you feel it experientially and you know it and it resonates, there's no going back. Even if we don't have the science to prove it, the experiential feeling and the resonance that you will have with it is enough to hook you, as it hooked me. So anyway, the energy body. There are several writers out there, master teachers. Alberto Villoldo, the Four Winds Society. He taught the energy body with the techniques he learned from the Peruvian Andes. Barbara Brennan, the School of Healing Touch. Donna Eden, Anodea Judith. I might be drawing a blank, but there are powerhouses of people who understand the energy body. Carolyn Mace, Norm Shealy. For millennia, our ancient healers, the medicine men and women, knew that human beings had an energy field. And it was seen by those who could see it, and these seers and shamans could see it, was a luminous egg around us. Alex Gray has beautiful pictures of this, by the way. A luminous egg. And what they knew is that things that happened in the energy field, imprints from incoming energies, of interactions of our environment and with other people, and even imprints from things that happened in past lives. Now, these healers and cultures believed in past lives. So just, I'll throw that out there, that this is coming from their belief system. I happen to believe it as well, but you don't have to in order to figure out the energy. That energy body, that luminous field, houses the imprints of wounds, of traumas, of events, and things. And the energy body, the energy field, funnels into our physical corporeal self. And that is often diagrammed coming from the Himalayas and the Hindu and Sanskrit, the chakras. These are funnels, vortexes of energy coming from the field into certain places down our body, down our core, our spinal cord. and connected to different organ systems. And Carolyn Mace does a wonderful thing in Anatomy of Spirit. You've seen drawings of chakras. You've talked about, you may have heard it, that certain chakras are associated with certain wounding, with certain organ systems. Whether or not you follow that chakra, and you don't have to be an expert in that, the energy body itself is where things happen, where the real juice is that your physical body then follows. So you have to know about that energy body, at least to be able to harness it, to tap into it, to have it flow. Dr. Sue Morter is phenomenal at flow of energy to create a healing in an organ system, a nerve, a cell. So in that tapping into the energy body, the key aspect for feeling this, I think, is something that we probably don't do enough of, is to have quiet meditative time. Now, I confess I am not a good meditator if it means sitting there and freeing my mind from thoughts. That is so not what my mind can do. But I'm very good at visualizing. So if I can sit and listen to a visualization of somebody leading me through something, I can track that, engage my brain, and be able to go quiet. I love nature. So being out in nature is where I can feel the wholeness of who I am. I can feel the bigger aspects of me, and I can feel the flow of the energy system through my physicality when I am in that quiet, dedicated space. And for me, that's usually in nature, usually sitting on the ground, often with one of my animals, because that's what gives me peace and quiet. Creating that quiet time is a critical aspect for being able to feel the energy that flows through you. Make yourself a sacred space, a corner somewhere in your home, a room you dedicate a meditation space, a special part outside on the grass. You take a walk and there's this tree you always like to sit next to, or a brook. You live by the beach, you like to be on the sand with the waves coming back and forth. Find that space that allows you to drop into the quiet. When you drop into the quiet, you then are able to access the energetic feeling of your body and the kinesthetic feeling. And with practice, you can sense things. For example, if you always have a chronic pain somewhere, when you are able to drop into that quiet space and then feel into the energetics of that, you may get messages, intuitions, hits, whatever you want to call them, like, oh, every time I interact with so and so and I feel that they are putting me down or attacking me, I get this pain in my shoulder blade. So you're able to assign, well, assign isn't right. You're able to see a deeper meaning in something, and that will help you down the road process it and clear it. So that quiet space where you can sense your energy field. So how do you sense an energy field? I think all of us know that you'll be standing in a room and you'll feel something at the back of your neck, like you just know that somebody's watching you or staring at you. And you'll spin around, and sure enough, there's somebody across the room staring at you. Maybe not in a good way, maybe in a wonderful way. Maybe they're absolutely attracted to you and you're the best. They can't wait to come over and meet you. But you get that feeling. Those kinds of feelings, you get a tingle when you know something. For me, I'll get an anxious feeling in my stomach if I know that the decision I'm about to make, and I'm thinking about one way to go, that doesn't feel good. I actually feel it in my stomach that this doesn't feel good. I've trained myself, or I've learned now with practice over time to say, whoa, what was it I was about to step over and do? Something's telling me not to do it. That is your energy body talking to you. So there you will know your own little cues, you will know your own triggers, and you will know when things feel like they're flowing well. When I'm able to sit, even with patients who don't know the first thing about shamanism or energy healing, if I say, do you feel like things are flowing? They'll say no. And I'll say, where do you feel stuck? And they'll point to somewhere. And meanwhile, I've seen with my different view of being able to see somebody's energy field, I'll see that they have flow coming down, ideas coming down, and then nothing moving past here. So they're not getting any action or any manifestation done. They're not actually bringing it all into creativity. So you will know when you ask yourself, just feel it, am I flowing? You've got an elbow that chronically aches, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, gardening elbow. Well, you can say, well, it feels like there's heat here, but that temperature is not flowing equally throughout. That's your energy body. So that's the next thing that I want you to think about, is to try and sense your energy body. And in order to do that, you absolutely need a key practice of being quiet. The quiet is where you get your messages. The quiet is where you get your inspiration. And the quiet is where you can feel things. When you get out of your head, believe me, my mind is totally zooming all the time. Get out of it, and then you can feel it. So that's the next major step, I think, for you to take. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to bring in the unseen world and how to bring in the forces that are out there that can be our allies, and how to know that you're not alone. So we'll be back in just a minute and we'll talk about that. Hi, everybody. We're back. Dr. Martin, Maximum Medicine Radio. And if you have anything you want to chime in, ask a question, the studio number, I have to look down to read it, 800-930-2819, or type it in the Facebook Live where this video is playing. And we're talking about the do-it-yourself basics to self-healing, because I believe that all of us have the capacity to shift our health and well-being into a good direction. I think, unfortunately, and usually unconsciously, we can shift our health into a bad direction. I think people are very good at that, especially with anger, irritation, inflammatory. You can basically poison your energy field. But we're talking about things that make us better. So we talked first about stepping into a new view and changing the perspective, and then having the awareness of your energy body. All shamanic techniques, whether they actually say the words energy body or not, are operating through energy field of the human body. So when we tap into that energy field, we talked about the critical nature of going quiet, because that's where you have your intuition. That's where you're able to sense and resonate with your energy body. So the next thing that I think is important, and this may not be something that you may not believe it as I describe it, although I think you would agree that if you just look at it in terms of forces in the unseen world, you could accept that there are forces out there, outside of ourselves. When you get quiet and when you are sitting, sensing your energy body, following with your awareness, how does your whole energy of your body flow? Where do you feel stuck? What you end up doing as you practice this awareness of our energy field is you are then sensing, and this happens to everyone. I watched it for myself and for my classmates in the Four Winds training and other classes with other shamans that I've taken. You begin to feel the forces that are outside us that impact us. You begin to feel what exists in the unseen world or the world beyond. And you may have listened to my show where I had to meet the medium Sharon Klingler on, who is very adept at feeling and reading and literally getting messages from those who have passed on from the spirit world. So when you have this awareness, first of all, that you're bigger than just your physical body, that you have an energy field, and that there are forces out there, you begin to know, and I say this experientially, you begin to feel and you begin to know that you're part of a divine network. Do you have to believe in God? No. Do you have to believe that you have a soul? No. Can you just know that there is a universal intelligence that's out there? Can you sense that there is something bigger than ourselves? Maybe there is a divine plan. However you see it, I think you could all agree that there is something bigger and that we as humans are part of a bigger story. When you study energy medicine and shamanism, that comes as a given, is that there are forces out there, powers that are out there, and other animals, even trees, plants, that have a sentience, an ability to have life force. And there's my dog popping his head up to show you he's got life force. To have life force and that are participating on the earth and beyond in the galaxy. Many cultures have developed relationships with these forces. The Native Americans have had thunder as a force. Many cultures have seen the forces of primal energies of the earth, and they have called them dragons. Now, I personally am not sure that I see a dragon as actually having a dragon shape like you might see in Game of Thrones, but I do feel them as forces. And when I think about somebody, the Chinese spirituality talks about dragons a lot. When I feel those, I can call it a dragon and I can feel its energy and I can feel its sort of, I'm losing the word, but anyway, the sinew effect, the serpentine effect. Do I believe that they actually look like dragons? Maybe not, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm feeling the force of the energy of something. Many cultures have tapped into other energetic forces. Sharon Klingler, as a medium, sees angels. She sees them plain as day. I can feel when something feels like it's coming from a higher ascended place. I can feel when there's an energy of a power animal. If I visualize in a shamanic journey, for example, coming and meeting your power animal, and when the jaguar walks out of the forest as I'm visualizing it, I can feel that energy. And I can feel it discreetly and individualized to that thing that I call a jaguar. The point being that we have all of these forces around us, and we can start to communicate with them, sense it, have a dialogue. Carl Greer is a master at teaching how to dialogue. I learned my best manners of dialoguing with unseen energies, I learned from him. I'm not as good as he is, but I have learned a lot from him. Taking those forces and recognizing when you start to communicate, you start to develop a team and you start to have other energies on your team. And you start to, in my opinion, start to see yourself as part of a bigger picture. So we kind of lose some ego there, which I think is a good thing. Drop the hubris, accept that we're part of something bigger. And then what comes along is what we talked about in a previous show. Then you get in Aini, which is right relationship. Knowing that when you ask for something, you offer something back, reciprocity. So you start to communicate with these things, these different energies. You give them what name you want. I can really feel the elemental energies of the plants and the nature divas that are in my garden. I feel energies. When I first moved to this house that I live in, I had visitation. It's another story. It's a bit woo-woo, of lights, literally hundreds of lights one summer. They came back for several summers, coming out of the woods, and not fireflies. But anyway, you start to develop a seeing and you communicate, and then you ask. Again, you ask, you don't command. You ask if you can get help from this energy. We'll call it a jaguar. We'll call it a dragon. We'll call it an angel. Whatever energetic you're feeling that you can name, that you see it as such, and ask for it to help you. Ask for it to be your ally. And when you develop a relationship, I have a relationship with a Native American medicine man that I believe used to live on my property. And when I am scared at night, sometimes when I'm down here in this hollow and there's really no lights around, I call and I ask for help. Are those allies really energetic parts of ourself? Probably also. Do I care? No. It's giving me a broader repertoire of energetics that I can harness to come in on my behalf. And over time, I've developed a relationship with certain energies that have become my pals. They've become my go-to helpers. And that is what is so amazing about healing in the energetic realm, is that an energy healer can tap into all of these bigger guns that are out there, whether you want to call them a dragon, whether you want to call by the power animals of the directions of the compass, whether you call in Mother Mary, Saint Germain, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. Whether you ask for your ancestors who have passed on to step in and help you. There are helpers out there and you are not alone. And I think that's a really key part of how you're going to harness self-healing, is getting help from bigger guns. So we're going to take a break and come back on our last section, talk about intuition and intention. And so we'll be back in just a moment. I'm Doc Martin, and tonight we're talking about the basics of self-healing. And I want to finish up with what I think are the two other key components. We talked about shifting your perspective, believing it could be different, understanding your energy body, calling in helpers from the unseen world, the forces that are out there that can assist you in building your own internal power. And then the next two things, I think, and these are complex, but I'll try to tell you simply what you can do, the simple parts, are intuition and intention. When you start to be in the quiet zone and develop your sense of the flow of your energy body, develop your feeling of what's out there in the unseen world, you can start to get messages and get intuitions. So those intuitions can be heightened by actual practices where you force yourself to drop into that quiet space and know the answer. I think our brain is capable of picking up so much subtlety of the energetics of the world that we know things that we often don't let ourselves know it because our human mind talks ourselves out of it. So you can use many techniques, and these are documented by many writers. A pendulum where you hold it gently and you've told yourself, if it goes clockwise, that's how I've defined it, that will be a yes. If it goes counterclockwise, that will be a no. If it goes up and down, that's a maybe. So you decide what you tell it. You're basically indicating what you're accepting as an answer. So, and you can practice that by saying something, saying a statement, close your eyes, let the pendulum spin, say a statement like, my name is Sharon, and you open it and you see that it's going clockwise. It better go clockwise. That's a true statement. So you can train yourself to put questions to it that you can get yes or no answers. Then you can know when you ask something else and you get it, you can trust that answer. Many body workers and naturopaths and chiropractors use muscle testing. Sometimes that's done with two people. You hold something that is this medicine or this supplement good for you. You have somebody push your arm down, you hold it against. If you're able to hold your arm against somebody pushing, then you are strong, then you are good with whatever either question you've asked or supplement you're holding near your field. If you can't continue to hold your arm up against pressure, then that's put a kibosh on your energy field. So that's using muscle testing. I find that a little bit difficult unless I sit quietly and I can imagine my arm up and I ask the question and my arm goes like this in my mind. But I'm not as good at that as I am with, say, a pendulum. Then you can also use cards. I love tarot cards. I love this deck, the Golden Tarot. But you also decide. I've often done, I'm going to lay out a spread of 7 cards. And if I get more that are upside down than are right upright, I guess is the word, then that's a no. So upright is yes. So of 7 cards, if 5 are upright, great. 4 are upright, 3 are down, maybe. So but again, you decide what the parameters are. You decide how to do it. I like the pendulum. And sometimes I've also now learned, as I said before, if I get a feeling in my gut that when I don't feel good and I get this not so good feeling, I've trained myself to go, wait, something's going on, pay attention. Practice, practice, practice. Practice with other people. They ask you a question that they know the answer to, you hold your pendulum, see what you get. So anyway, practice, practice. The next is intention, and this is critical because I personally haven't been able to think of a situation, unless you do it subconsciously or unconsciously, that you can heal something without having a clear intention. Intention for me is, what is your actual desire? Not, well, I'd like to have $1 million because I'd love to be rich. Well, that's an intention that perhaps would be better said. And again, we want to make resonant what our heart wants and what your mind wants. What your heart probably really wants when you say that is to have freedom from fear over money. So financial security. Perhaps that's more important than the $1 million. So that kind of intention, you would refine it, not, I can't stand this arthritis. I want it gone now. I want to get rid of this arthritis. That kind of energy doesn't resonate well with a healed body. So change it to something positive. And Lynn McTaggart does a beautiful job in her Power of Eight groups, refining how you come up with an intention statement. So instead of, oh, I can't stand this arthritis, I hate it, I need to get rid of it, I want freedom of movement. I would love my joints to feel fluid. I want my joints to feel fluid. So when you feel that intention, it will make your heart feel good, because that's really what your body, your heart, your thought, your cellular feeling wants. So intuition, to know how to approach something, is what I'm about to do. Is eating more kale going to help me? Or if you hold an intention, I really want to be more fluid in my joints. You sit in your quiet space, you sense your energy field, you ask your helpers to come in, and you hold that intention, resonating it all the way through heart, mind, cellular. The Peruvian Caro Indians have a beautiful way of talking about that complete resonance. And they have it as Yankai, Munai, and Yachai. Correct thought, correct heart, correct action. When something is right for you, all three of those arenas are going to resonate and light up and feel good. So when you do your self-healing and you want to find out where is the cellular component, your intuition, you're quiet, you've asked for an awareness, you'll feel it, you'll get a message. And then if you want to know, should I take milk thistle as a supplement? Then you pendulum it, or you sit quietly and you feel it. And I believe if you sat quietly, called in your helpers, asked for, after you found that really good intention statement, I want freedom from shortness of breath. I want freedom of movement. I want vitality to flow through me every day. When you do that and you feel that over and over, you have started on your road of self-healing. And I know that you can shift things, and I know that you can be good at this. It will take practice, and will definitely take stepping outside of the box of, I'm doomed, I have such and such condition, and you become labeled by that condition. Well, let's open the doors, open the windows, break out that box, call in your helpers, feel the flow of your energy body, get your intuition, set your intention, and you're on your way. I'm Doc Martin, and I hope that you have some take-home points here for you to go and practice and get yourself more vital, full of life force, the way maximum is supposed to be. Thank you for being with us tonight.